In this series of videos, we'll start discussion on life and personal liberty. The very provision of life and personal liberty as provided under Article 21, the very protection of the life and personal liberty is one of the most important fundamental rights as enshrined in Part 3 of the Constitution and as it was interpreted by our apex court or Supreme Court as the heart and soul of the fundamental rights. And to explain exactly these provisions concerning protection of life and personal liberty, we divided those provisions as interpreted by the apex court or the high courts of different states into 10 different parts and will discuss each part with a critical analysis as made by those decisions standard by the Supreme Court, so also by different high courts in India. And before starting to analyze and explain these under different heads, we would like to make a reference that regarding Article 21, which provides protection of life and personal liberty, and that no one can be deprived of this protection of life and personal liberty without procedure established by law. Already we have discussed in detail about Article 21 in relation to human rights when we discuss two important topics in two videos relating human rights and the very role of Indian judiciary. So any viewer of our channel could make reference to those two previous videos that already we have uploaded in our channel, and the very heading of those videos are human rights and Indian judiciary. So in dealing with the present provision in the Constitution of India regarding the protection of life and personal liberty, which could not be deprived by the state without procedure established by law. So, out of those 10 parts, we'll discuss the first part, which we divided under four different heads, as one is law, just, fair, and reasonable, and the second one, that is second head, on natural justice, and the third one, preventive detention, and also on the fourth one, wrongful detention. So while discussing and analyzing part 1 under these four heads, we would like to discuss some important leading cases relating to these provisions. So, as regarding law, just, fair, and reasonable, the very interpretation made by the Supreme Court in the important leading case, Delhi Airtech Services Private Limited for versus State of Uttar Pradesh in 2012 that the word law which figures in Article 21 of the Constitution should be a validly enacted law, meaning thereby just, fair, and reasonable. And now we'll go to discuss the very concept of natural justice, which is also an integral part of this article regarding protection of life and personal liberty, which could not be deprived by the state without procedure established by law. And in relation to that, we would like to discuss that very important leading case, Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India in 1978, as Supreme Court expressed that natural justice is implicit in Article 21, whether the procedure laid down in a particular case is fair depends on the facts of each case. And now we'll go to the next part of this provision that we included under Part 1, that is relating to preventive detention, and in connection to that we will discuss the leading case Union of India versus Basant Bharati in 1990. The Supreme Court expressed that a state government order preventive detention immediately after revoking the earlier order on the report of the advisory board. It failed to defend its action in court despite two adjournments. Its action was held to violate Article 21 and 22 of the Constitution in the circumstances where a person is detained under the Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Activities Act 1974. The members of the family of the detainee must be informed about the passing of the order of detention and the place of detention. So now we'll go to the fourth head that we have selected to make it as a part of Part 1, and that is wrongful detention. And in that regarding, we discuss another important leading case, Rama Das Ram versus State of Bihar, and it was decided in 1987 by our Supreme Court, where it was held that a prisoner already in jail for 8 years would have served out the minimum punishment for the offense cannot be detained on the basis of a production warrant issued with the application of mine. So, in Part 1, we discussed certain important and relevant preliminary foundation stone that we would draw when we would analyze what exactly procedure established by law, and in that context that law must be just, fair, and reasonable, and secondly it must involve natural justice, and there must be no contravention as regarding violation of just, fair, and reasonable and natural justice in case of preventive detention. So also that regarding wrongful detention, and in connection to that we have discussed some important leading cases like Delhi Airtech Services Private Limited versus State of Uttar Pradesh, which was decided in 2012 by the Supreme Court. And so also regarding natural justice, the most important leading case, Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India in 1978, which was also decided by our Supreme Court. And the third one, that is relating to preventive detention, and which was important leading case, Union of India versus Basant Bharati in 1990, decided by Supreme Court. And the fourth one regarding wrongful detention, and the important case in that connection, Rama Das Ram versus State of Bihar, and which was decided in 1987 by our Supreme Court. So in our upcoming video we will discuss part 2, that we have framed in relation to protection of life and personal liberty without any deprivation by state on the very grounds of procedure established by law.